So we're going to do the G Plus Hangout thing as well as the podcast thing.
The Shoe the Dough podcast.
The Shoe the Dough thing. So what's weird is
we're just
lots of things are weird right now.
Yeah.
One thing is I'm talking in 3 different universes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just talking to you.
Right. We're in the room together.
About a movie. We're just going to talk about a movie.
And then we're on the mic together.
Then, well, that's even another universe. I figured in the room and on the mic is the same thing.
We're like, well, no, it's not different. It's
we're in the room together, and then we're on we're making a podcast for that audience.
Yep.
And then over here,
we have you.
We have, well, who's you? See, that's the thing. Is you me, you the podcast, or is you you in the video?
I don't know. Well, there's me in the video, but then there's anybody watching too.
So here's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to assume the video is just like a
silent partner,
like a creepy person,
right?
Just like
they're just looking through the window.
They're just looking through the window,
right? We have to ignore.
So I'm not like yada da 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 yada da da like performing to the person in the window. They're just right. Isn't that how you would handle it?
Yeah. Well, you're gonna need to because we're gonna have to focus on the podcast.
And because right, exactly.
Otherwise, the podcast is gonna be really, really long.
So
12 hours.
If you're joining us for the live look-in, or I guess this will be posted afterwards too.
Yeah, you can either stream live or it's posted afterwards in its entirety. Because we're going to be doing a SIF pop on this one, which is pop culture. It's going to be on your website.
Yeah, where I do all my movie reviews and everything like that. So if you're joining us from there, welcome. But we're going to ignore you. Is that okay? All right. They'll have to. No, you don't have to cover. You don't have to cover up. But I'm just saying.
I'm ignoring.
You're doing a very good job.
Thanks.
So should we shoe a dough?
Let's shoe the dough.
Should we just get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right. So we're going to talk about Men in Black 3, which we both got a chance to see this past weekend. Just came out, and right off the bat, I have a little bit of a Avengers hangover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that movie was so good.
Yeah, that's actually the last movie that I saw. You see a lot of movies because you do movie reviews, but I do not. So that was actually the last movie I saw was Avengers. So I went from Avengers to Men in Black 3.
Yeah, and so there's this
it's an adjustment.
It's not fair. Like it didn't matter what movie you saw next to Avengers, it's gonna have a lot to live up to, and I don't think that's fair. So I'm trying to put that behind me before we talk about this to be able to do that.
Do you need a minute?
Just give me a minute.
Okay.
Oh, the Hulk is awesome. Oh yeah, that scene was great. Oh, that was so funny. I want to see Avengers again so bad. Okay, it's in the past.
Okay,
we're
now
through.
We're ready to go.
Okay, now we can talk about Men in Black 3. First thing I will ask, Danae, what's your Men in Black experience?
With the previous
with the first 2 movies.
Well, I remember the first movie. I remember learning the Men in Black rap with my friends.
What?
The good guys dress in black. Remember that? Just
no.
in case we were face to face and make contact.
No, do it.
The title held by me, MIB. Means what you think you saw, you did not see. Anyway, remember that. And I don't remember the second movie, like hardly at all. But I think it was on television recently.
Did you see it, like when it came out, or like
remember.
on video? So you may not have even seen the second movie, as far as you know.
I might not have even seen it. No.
Okay.
But then I skipped to 3. Whether I saw 2 or not, I don't know that it really makes a difference. Does it?
It might. I loved the first one. I was am a huge Will Smith fan.
It was so good.
So great and funny, and he's so charismatic.
Unexpected. It was a new kind of a movie.
He had done Independence Day already, I think, and I loved him from that. Was kind of his breakthrough role that kind of defined who he was going to be in those years. And then he did Men in Black, and I was just like, oh, so good. And Tommy Lee Jones is, oh, so good. And it just hit me on every level, and I loved it. The second one came out, and it had a little bit of sequelitis. It was just like, you didn't quite have the same feel. It was still okay, but
what happened in that one? Because I'm trying to remember if I actually saw
it. It was the one about the World's Fair, right? Isn't that the one where there was a big bug? Or was that the first one? Am I remembering the first one? What happened in the first one?
The big bug was the first one.
That is the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the memorable one. What did happen in the second one?
We don't know.
Now I do know that. I know that I've seen it, but you're right. Wow, how forgettable is that I can't even remember I know there were cool creatures and J and K were, themselves.
J&K.
But I know that it didn't hit me enough to really love it like I love the first one. So that's how I come into the third one. So pretty much the same. We come into the same.
It's been enough time that it was kind of like I didn't need to go back and watch them. And I had seen Will Smith on, I think it was Ellen, and he was saying something about how they had tried really hard to make the third movie a standalone movie.
Really?
Where they really didn't want it to.
It didn't feel like that at all.
They didn't want it to be where you like it felt like a sequel.
Like you had
or
to know the
another
first
one.
two?
Right.
Because I felt like there was a little bit of that, but whatever the case. What did you think about Men in Black 3? Just lay it out there.
Well, I thought it was a Men in Black movie. Actually, just it's had that same feel to it, where you've got your cheesy jokes, you've got your aliens. You know, in this one, they kind of travel back in time. Or actually, Will Smith's character Jay travels back in time.
That's an interesting addition. The addition of time travel, that's hard.
Let's just say I'm thankful that they went there, because I did not want to see Tommy Lee Jones old school, like old guy action film.
Right.
I didn't want to see that.
Yeah.
So I was really glad that I was like, okay, we got a different K, because it's the younger version of K. So there was a couple times whenever I wasn't enjoying myself, because I was like, this is super cheesy. But I'm like, well, that's what this movie is. It's kind of cheesy movie anyway. But then I enjoyed myself again. And
so you went through waves?
I went through a couple waves. But by the end of it, I was invested, except for the fact that I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I almost couldn't enjoy myself anymore.
I know that feeling very, very well. And you're kind of at that point, like when you're getting towards the end of the movie, where you're like, oh, I have to go. I really need to get out of here.
Oh my gosh.
But I don't want to miss anything.
Oh, it was
I'd
so
almost rather
bad.
my bladder explode than miss anything.
I was like, I can't get up and leave because I'm doing a review on it, and I know that the second that I get up, something is going to happen, and it's going to be relevant to the movie.
Overall,
you
liked it?
I would say overall it was like a B+.
Oh, an actual grade.
I don't know. Am I grading it? I don't know.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
B+?
I think a B+.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Maybe an A- for me. I think I liked it maybe a little bit more than you. Had a lot of the same feelings. I think the nostalgia of it for me was the big thing. Like, it was just like, as soon as like the soundtrack started and that classic Danny Elfman score started, dun, 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 you know, it's just like, oh.
That was a kickback for sure.
Men in Black, it's back. You know, it's just like the feeling of, oh, I'm so glad to be back in this universe. And then Will Smith comes on screen and Tommy Lee Jones comes on screen. It's just like, oh, I love these people on the screen. And I felt like they did such a great job. And then Josh Brolin playing Tommy Lee Jones.
Was that the guy's name?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Impressive, right?
Totally impressed with him. Like, I don't know if we're skipping ahead, but because I remember last time I was all trying to skip around, and you were like, no, I have a series.
No, we're
of things
fine. We're fine. Go
that
ahead.
I
Talk about
ask.
the movie. Talk about Josh Brolin.
He was my favorite part of the whole movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I was to pick like my favorite thing, it was him playing Kay.
Well, you're skipping ahead. That's something I wanted to talk about later. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's what I do.
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, he was phenomenal.
So good.
His Tommy Lee Jones impersonation was just incredible. Like, it blew my mind.
I kind of was wondering if he like if they did the mirroring thing, did he go back and watch the Men in Black movies, or did they like hang out with Tommy Lee so they could get his character for a while, because he did so good. It seriously was like, I don't know if they just actually went back in time and took Tommy Lee Jones.
Right, that's the whole thing. It's like, did they use like motion capture?
How did they do that?
Computer generated? How?
It was so perfect.
It was. Josh Brolin is
it was the most believable kickback I think I've probably seen in a movie in a long time.
Right, he was himself, but at the same time, I mean, he had all the mannerisms and the way he talked, and
he had fun too. Like, they would like, he'd kind of like do a little half smile whenever you know, Kay or Jay. Will Smith's character is Jay.
Will Smith is Jay.
Right. Whenever Jay would like say something to him, you know, he was amused in his own world. Like, you were really able to kind of see that they were in a different time period, and he was aware that there was another time period and able to accept it without question and all this stuff. It was really fun. The whole movie, that part of the whole movie was really great. Another
part that stood out to me, and another reason I really liked it, was I felt like there was more emotion in this movie. Even like it seemed like even a deeper movie than the first two. Like, I feel like Will Smith has matured as an actor. Do you know the last time we saw Will Smith in a movie? 7 pounds. 5 years ago.
I never saw 7 pounds.
Well, okay. By we, I mean the world in general.
So I don't even remember when that came out.
That was 2007.
Wow.
I only know because I looked.
What was before that?
Oh, man. What was right before? I have no idea. I'd have to look.
Hitch was the last movie that I saw him in.
Hitch was right before 7 pounds,
which is one of my favorites. So good.
Half a decade.
So good.
Half a decade. We're not to the camera. Not to the camera. Half a decade has gone by since we've seen Will Smith.
That's awesome. I mean, that's so awesome. You know, okay, it kind of did creep me out a little bit. So he appears on screen, Will Smith, and then I'm like, what is that? Is that a wrinkle in your face? oh
like
my
he's
gosh.
getting older.
And then there's another scene like later on where he's kind of like leaning back or whatever, and you can kind of see he's got some stubble going on, and it's salt and pepper stubble. And I was like, what are you doing with gray hair? And I had the whole thing where I'm like, oh my goodness, Will Smith is getting older. It was different.
It's weird. We don't expect our movie actors to age,
But
because
they do.
every time we watch a movie, they're the same age as the last time we watched the movie. When I watched Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic,
Same age.
he
Always.
looks like Leonardo. Of course, Leo doesn't age, so I don't know
No, he doesn't.
if that's really
Will
appropriate.
ages well,
Yeah.
though. He
Yeah.
does.
So, but with that age, what I'm saying is, like, his acting maturity has gotten better. Like, I feel like in the first movies, he was all like one-liners and charisma and cuteness,
And he
like,
still has that.
and that's still here, but it's added to it is like depth and perception and emotion.
Yeah, and that was the thing I liked about the movie too, is that they brought in a different level of emotion where, you know, Jay, goodness, this is going to be hard. So Will Smith's character is, you know, dealing with why he's going back in time and the reason that he's wanting to take this adventure and take this big risk. And then, you know, even unexpected emotion that you find in it. So they were able to both be really superficially joke and humor and then go into an emotional level. And you're absolutely right. Will was able to carry that.
So some of the negatives for me, you mentioned the cheesiness, and this is partly Avengers hangover, I'm sure, but coming from a movie where everything seems so genuine and real, even though there were funny lines, like they seemed like really in those characters and in that universe. In this, a lot of the cheesiness seems forced, at least to me. Some of the lines feel a little overwritten, and like the callbacks, some of the callbacks like to the worm guys, you know, just felt like a little bit just like, I didn't need that. And so there is that element of it that was the negative for me.
I didn't mind the callbacks to the worm guys, and I didn't like the picture of the pug in the background in Will's apartment.
Yeah, just
Like,
stuff like that.
I thought
Just
that was
like-
kind of a fun environment. My least favorite part of the movie was the I don't like.
Wait, that's for later. We want to save that for later. I'm just kidding.
I
Go
thought
ahead.
you just
No,
did
no, no,
that.
no.
Why are
Okay,
you
so let's
messing
do
with
the,
me?
So you did.
But you just said that yourself. It was
I
one
know.
of these
I know.
favorites.
I know. I'm not.
What are
It's
you
fine.
doing?
So your favorite part was Josh Brolin. Let's go ahead.
Yes,
And let's
my
do,
favorite part was
Let's do best and worst.
young KJ, whoever the guy is.
Because I think we both like the movie. That much is evident. So let's go ahead and do best and worst. Your best was Josh Brolin. Go ahead and talk about your worst. You were getting ready to.
Thank you for giving me permission.
You're welcome. You have permission. It has been granted by the podcast.
I appreciate
The
that.
podcast has granted you permission.
I will take the permission, and I will say that my least favorite part was the forced cussing. I
Really?
really don't like forced cussing in movies.
You're gonna have to explain this.
Like every time Will's character cussed,
Uh-huh.
I was just like, it didn't seem like it had a place. Like
Okay.
I'm like, really? And he was the only person who cusses almost the entire movie, and it always is well. And to me, it was just like every time he did it, I'm like, why even say that there? Like,
That's interesting. I didn't feel that at all.
I from time to time will slip every once in a while, and I understand that happens. But when it's forced, when it seems like it's just in there to be edgy, and so that distracted me every single time it happened.
Yeah. Well, maybe your, let's just say, experience in that realm,
In the cursing realm,
in the cursing realm, maybe that's what caused it. Because I don't have any experience in that realm, and it didn't stand out to me at all.
That was
so,
mine.
Yeah. Well, my best and worst. You ready?
Ready?
My favorite, the villain. Loved the villain.
He was so creepy.
It was very creepy. The character work, the creature work on him was amazing. It's
Ugh.
Jermaine Clement, I think is the dude's name. Did you ever see Flight? Did you ever see Flight of? Did you ever see Flight of the Conchords, the TV show?
No.
It's about a couple guys, music guys in New Zealand,
In Concord.
and it's a very funny show, and they write very funny songs. But he's one of those guys, and to see him in this role, I just thought it was perfect. I thought the way they designed him was perfect. I thought
He was just creepish.
how
There's a couple parts in there, like if you have young children, close their eyes. They will have nightmares.
But that's been true of the other Men in Black movies too.
Yes.
They've been willing to up the creep factor and
and
kind
they're
of that
same thing
disgusting
here.
creature factor. And the way his body was designed, like he had creatures that would be in him and like that he could use, and the way his face opened up at the end. I mean, I know, but it was impressive.
It was
and
impressive.
his performance was impressive as well.
Yeah, I thought so.
I really like that. And I liked that it was so, I want to say malevolent. Is that the opposite of benevolent?
Okay.
That it was so evil. There was just such a harshness to that like that, not that creature, but that species. Like you just got a sense that you didn't want to mess with that species. And
they were all about destroying.
It added that kind of emphasis to the plot. Like I felt like there was a real evil that they were fighting. And I think that worked really well.
That was your favorite?
That was my favorite.
What's your least favorite?
I don't know.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I think probably
okay, then I get to pick another one for you.
Okay, pick one for me.
The chocolate milk reference. Really?
Yeah.
What's with the chocolate milk reference? And
that was weird.
Was there something that I missed in either movie 2 or movie 1 that I need to go back and listen to? That's my least favorite. I'm like, that had no place.
Well, you understand where it had the place in the plot, though, right?
Like
how they
I
used
understand
it, right?
How they made it a part of the plot.
Because of the time, it was like a time travel thing.
Why did they make it part of the plot? Like, why did they choose?
And the way it was introduced was weird.
I know.
And it was just
it's like when I'm like, what just happened? Why?
Yeah.
Why did he just? Okay, whatever. And then it comes back around. Like Agent O mentions it, and then Griffin, who I would have to say, if I had another favorite, it would be Griffin.
I was just gonna say, if I did have a least favorite, it might be Griffin.
Yours is least?
Yeah, we can disagree on this. Let's disagree on this.
Okay.
What did you like about Griffin? Griffin is a character, I should mention.
A new character.
He's a new character, and he sees every eventuality of time. And
as it's happening
and as he exists in it, so he's never quite sure which.
There's like different realities that could be happening,
right? And
so dependent on a series of events, depends on which reality becomes, and he sees them all happening simultaneously.
Right. Yes, so that's his character. But what did you like about him?
I thought he was a really good comedy relief, and I liked that his appearance was unexpected.
I agree with that.
And I just thought that he was he was out of this world, but he was normal enough that you could relate to him as the audience. And I think that the audience needed something else to relate to besides these two main characters.
I think that's good. I think I agree with all those things. The reason I didn't like him is he felt like a plot bailout to me. Like it was just an easy out. Like to have somebody with you at all times that can say, you know, oh, here's what the future is, and so now do this and now do this. It was just like that seems a little less fun to me. Like it seems like it's just
seems
like
very chocolate milk.
It does seem a little chocolate milk.
What is that doing in there?
Yeah, so like it gives the writers a very easy way to get where they want to go. But
he held a very important key, and that's why they had to find him in the first place. But I agree with you. Sometimes movies do that. They'll just, okay, this movie's got to move forward, so some characters got to give the info, and I'm glad that the person that gave that info was fun to watch.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair point. I think maybe you've convinced me. Maybe you've convinced me a little bit that Griffin's okay.
Yeah.
I think in general it's the whole time. Yeah, you know Griff.
We're buddies.
Right, you know. The whole time travel thing in general is tough for me because I want it to make sense, and time travel hardly ever makes sense in movies. The only movie I've ever seen where time travel actually, I feel like, worked and made sense was the movie 12 Monkeys. I don't know if you've seen that movie.
I did see that movie.
With Bruce Willis.
But it has been way too long, so I have no point of reference except
in that movie, it treats time as an unchangeable thing, so that if you do go back in time, it already exists back in time, so that nothing can be changed. Whenever you start to talk about, you know, diverging time.
Here we go. Like, are we really going to go into time and space travel and trying to
I can't help it. That's where my brain goes.
I understand.
That's how I see movies. You know, I have to think about that kind of stuff.
Did that stall you when you were watching this movie because you're trying to be like, really, we can't change time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little brain hiccup, and then I have to do the whole suspension of disbelief thing and get back into it, and that's fine. I can get there, but it is a little hiccup for me. So that might be my least favorite, just having to deal with time travel in that world.
It's sci-fi.
Yeah.
You're going to deal with anything.
That's
anything
true.
is possible in sci-fi.
So how do we close this up? I think we both kind of made our opinion known.
Right.
You said B+, I said maybe A-.
Right.
So we both kind of agree on that.
Should we say like who would enjoy this movie?
That's a good idea. Who do you think would enjoy this movie? Me?
That was a bad idea for me. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
I would just say
Pete would enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Coral.
Yes.
She's great.
Yeah, she would think this was awesome.
I have no idea. I don't know anyone named Coral. I would say don't take young kids. And again, if you want to protect them from horrible nightmare images of creatures crawling out of pants, just cover their eyes when the bad guy shows up.
Yeah, I think if you're talking family.
But other than that, there was really nothing else in the film aside from a few cuss words that.
Yeah, if you're talking family, I'd take my 13-year-old.
Yeah, I would say.
Maybe even my 11, somewhere in that range, you know, where they're ready to handle.
As if I had kids and knew. But yeah, that sounds right. That sounds about right. But you're going to enjoy this movie if you like just a silly movie. It's not an action movie. It's more of a relationship movie. That's the other thing. It's more about relationships than it is. It's not an action adventure. It's not meant to like blow your mind, but it is more of a relationship. So
we both liked it. I think we should finish by Danae doing her Tommy Lee Jones impersonation.
I don't even have one, man.
Well, you saw Josh Brolin do it, so just thank people in your Tommy Lee Jones. I think maybe be a good way to do it. Thank people for listening and watching. Tommy Lee Jones. Yep.
Thanks.
I was good.
Hey,
I was good. I liked it.
That was good. That's all I got.
All right.
Okay, now you gotta do your thank you in the bad guy impersonation.
The bad guy?
Yeah.
Jermaine Clement?
Yep.
Mercy, thank you for. I can't. Thank you for. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to this podcast and watching. Thank you for doing it. We appreciate it. Thank you to the people who helped, like the studio, 88.3 The Wind, and the person who made the music.
Please subscribe.
Thank you. Subscribe today at iTunes. Thank you.
Was that what you wanted? Just the thought that somebody's actually watching this right now, because usually you can just edit out whatever you want.
Edit out, yeah. We don't.
We're gonna stop
that would be
now.
gone.
This is going to be stopped very, very soon. Thank you for watching.